This is a gorgeous Philodendron Birkin that I've recently purchased. Problem is, she's still living in soil and I can't have that. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I move this fabulous looking Philodendron Birkin from soil to Leca. Watch out for the special tips and tricks that I'll give along the way that will help you move a big plant like this one from soil to Leca. Let's get started. First things first, we've got to get this plant out of this soil. I've got my gloves on for that, and I'll just put this plant on its side and just give that pot a nice squeeze. Oh gosh. Wow, that is really packed in there. Oh, I really have to put my back into it. Oh man. Oh. Jeez. Oh. Wow. Look at how root bound that plant is. So I'm going to take this outside and I'm going to give this a wash and make sure I get all that soil off, and then we'll be right back. One of the easiest ways of getting the soil off is soaking the plant in a bucket and letting that water do its magic and that soil will fall off. But I don't have time for that, so I'll take it outside and I'll just give it a rinse with my high pressure spray, and that really gets that off. And while I'm doing this, I just clean the plant off as well. I just use that spray as liberally as I can, taking off as much of that organic matter as I can. I'm back from washing my plant. That's it over there. And that is the root system, looking pretty good, I have to say. There's a lot of roots though. I am going to cut off some of these roots because I know not all of them are going to survive, and it's just going to be a problem when I put it in my Leca. So I've got my shears here that I've sterilized earlier on, and I'm just going to get cutting. So I'm not taking all of them off, but just some of those, and right, that's what I'm left with there. Those are my roots. I'm just going to take this plant, I'm going to go and give it another wash. Okay, so this is the plant that we're now working with. This is the plant that I'm now going to put into my semi-hydroponics. Look at that root system. Those roots are looking really good. So for this particular plant, because the plant is already quite big, I am going to use what I like to call the long method to change this plant over from soil to Leca. And what the long method does is it gives the plant a little bit of a stopgap. So once you take the plant out of soil, it's not too happy. It's been living in soil. If you just put it straight into the Leca, those roots might not be easily adaptable. So putting it in this water solution allows the roots to develop and to, for lack of a better term, get to terms with what's happening to it. And then when you put it in the Leca, that's not a very big problem. So I've got my jar here and I'll put my plant in there. And that sits in there rather nicely, and that's what that looks like. It looks really beautiful. I'm going to put my special sauce in this vase, and my special sauce is made up of two ingredients. That's Flonix clone solution and root zone, and I dilute that exactly the way it's written on the instructions. And what this does is it helps the plant develop water roots, for lack of a better term, develop roots that are used to living in a hydro solution, but it also feeds the plant. So, you know, this plant is big, it's been used to eating, so it needs to have additional nutrition. So it gives that nutrition, it encourages root health, and that is what's going to help my plant transition from soil to Leca. There we go. I'll put this plant on a bright, warm spot. I'll probably sit it on top of a heat mat and allow that nutrient to do its job. I will change this solution weekly, and then we'll be back. Hello, here's my Philodendron Birkin. It's been 73 days since I took the plant out of soil and put it in this Clonex clone solution to undergo the long method. Yes, you heard me right, 73 days. That's 2 months and 13 days. 73 days. It's taken that long. You do need to be patient with these things. And in that time, I have had a few new leaves pop up. That's a new leaf there that's popped up. I'm not sure if that one's new as well, but you can see that there's another new leaf that's popping up there. This plant has done really well. The fact that I haven't lost any leaves at all, I think is testament to the fact that this long method definitely worked for this large Philodendron Birkin. And those leaves are still looking as delicious as they were when it was still living in soil, and you've got that new foliage coming through looking absolutely fantastic as well. Now let's take a look at the all-important root system. Okay, so pulling that plant out of there, you can see that, that seems to be okay. You do have a few bumps of new roots there. There's some new roots that look like they're formed there. But all in all, I mean, the thing with this plant, the roots aren't going to be as lovely and luscious and fuzzy white all the time. So you're not always going to get that look. So as you can see, when I tug at those, there's very little loss of roots. You've got some still sloughing off, which is fine. We actually expect that to happen. So these are the roots that were not going to be viable if we had put them in the leca anyway. So we expect that to happen. So the best way of cleaning this off now is taking it to the sink and giving it a rinse, and that's what I'm going to do now. And when we come back from doing that, we'll get to potting her up in leca. Okay, I'm back. I've given my plant a wash, and those are the roots that I've got left over. You can see here how those are new roots. They look absolutely beautiful. They're lovely, they're white, and that plant is really, in my mind, going to establish itself very well in the leca. I've got my leca here that's been soaking in my Clonex clone solution for a few days and is ready to go. So I'm just going to fill up my pot about a third of the way up. With this particular plant, I want it to sit at that level. I want the plant to be buried within the leca, so that's just slightly less than a third, which is okay because those roots literally have been sitting in water for the last 2 months, so they won't have a problem with that. So I'm going to stop there and put my plant there, and that's how I want to position it, and I'll fill that up with leca. So just making sure I've got the leca everywhere. Wow, I measured the amount of leca I needed perfectly for the first time ever. Can you imagine? That never happens. I always need more. Okay, so we've got our plant in there. Just shake that to settle the leca a bit. That is all settled. My plant is looking really good. For this particular plant, you could actually have kept it in that Clonex clone solution for, you can keep it there for as long as you like, for however long as you like. The reason I didn't do that is I got a bit tired of doing this experiment, but also you then sort of need to get a bigger vase as the plant keeps growing and growing, because then it just starts to get a bit top heavy. So I decided that now was a good time to put it in my leca, and gosh, does that not look brilliant in that leca? It looks really good. I've got a cache pot for it. That's my reservoir over there. It's got no hole, and I'll put my plant there, and that sits really nicely. Fill that up with my special sauce again, my Clonex clone solution and my root zone. Have that sit in there because, again, of course, we have disturbed those roots yet again. So we took the plant out, went and gave it a wash. So those roots have been disturbed again. The plant is not yet established in leca, so we still want to baby those roots a little bit more and get that root system going before I switch over from Clonex clone solution to foliage focus. And again, there's no time frame for that. It entirely depends on the plant. So for this particular plant, I'm going to want to see a lot more roots than it's got at the moment before I switch it to foliage focus. And the good thing with using Clonex Clone Solution is it's still got enough to actually feed the plant while it's developing the roots. There's my Philodendron Birkin all potted up. If you're finding value from this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep it exactly where I was keeping it, bright, warm spot, and watch it thrive. Go and watch this next video where I transform yet another big plant from living in soil to living in leca. I'll see you there.